I just don't want someone to just give me the answer, which I
Sure.
don't believe that you are. But I really want to really
Absolutely.
figure this thing out.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so so we're gonna pass through an integer. All right, so we're gonna give this hit method an argument, and I'm just gonna call it num because it doesn't really matter what we call it.
Yeah, sounds fine.
Right. So then it reads. All right, so hit calls on prompt user, then get user input. Okay, now, so let me go ahead and just do this. You can see my screen here.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep.
And let's learn that. All right, so now we've gotten rid of the prompt user and get user spec hits.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're good. Then it says, this is kind of where I get confused. It reads return an integer, which is the card total. So from the instructions, it says basically the card total is the number, is the integer that's passed through the argument in addition to a new card that's dealt. So that would be the new card total, right?
If you do, so say that again.
All right. So it says basically, so return an integer, which is the card's total. Okay. So num isn't the card's total.
Right.
Isn't the card total. All
Right.
right. So now I just wanted to show you something, which is, well, never mind. I'll skip that part. Let's go ahead and delete this line because this is kind of driving me nuts. All right. So if get user input is equal to h, because when we call this up here, user input, we basically implicitly return answer, which is the user's input. All right. So if that input is equal to h, basically what we're going to do is take the value that was passed, all right, and then we're gonna call deal card to get a new card number or a value.
Yep.
And then we're going to return that. So that's down here.
Right.
Okay. But if h, so I tried to do an if statement with the s, it just wouldn't take it, so I just left it out.
Okay.
So else invalid command. Okay. I definitely could be doing something wrong there. I should probably do something with s, but it just wouldn't. It just like does not deal another card if users type s. So I mean, I just don't know what to return if the user does type s. Like I could probably just say like prompt user. I could do prompt user. So if
in blackjack, if somebody stays, then they're gonna not add anything to their total, right?
Yeah, but so the instructions say to prompt a user again, so they never win. It does say down at the bottom, like as a, or I think it's on a somewhere else. It says, you know, if you want to create a program that actually does allow users to win, you can do that. But right now, this is a lose-lose game.
Uh-huh.
So just start with that and then build on that. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now.
So do you want to just put in an else if so that you get a second if, essentially? A second conditional input?
Yeah, I could definitely do that. So let me just do that real quick. All right, so else if get user, so s, and then just do, I'll call that, what was that again? Get user input. All right, so save that and let's try to run that. And then that's when they get the errors. All right, so let me see. So ended the if, else if, else, end. Okay.
Now, don't forget to look at your red line that says syntax error, because that points you to the location of the error.
Yeah, I had one too many ends.
Yep.
All right. Okay. This actually should be fine. So I'm gonna uncomment that out and put the end down here. So that's kind of where that went. All right. Okay.
So let's try taking it from the spec, because as you've noted, you were originally passing that spec, and now you're not passing it. And the question is, well, what the heck went wrong? Because I know I'm calling prompt user and get user input, so why am I failing this test? So if we go look at the spec, it should clear up that question.
Okay.
So we go to the spec file, blackjack spec. You know how to find the line you're looking for?
Yeah, so we're basically looking for, let me just do it this way. I could probably go through here and look through the line, but for me it's a little quicker. So just prompt user. So let me just see what's going on with prompt user. All right. So
Well, it says it right there at the end in the red.
Right here, 80?
Yeah.
Okay. Then let me thank you for
that. There we go.
Okay. So it calls on.
STD.
Go ahead.
Receive puts with type edge for hit. I expect self to receive get user for the return S. And then it's calling hit with 7. Okay, so we're going to receive puts, and we're going to receive input, which will return S. So there's really only 2 expectations to pass this test.
Yeah, so to receive a puts with HRS, and I mean, so to me, it's pretty clear.
Yeah, like why? How could that possibly be failing? So now let's get into the actual error message. So if you do learn space dash dash f, which is fail fast, that cuts out all of the other stuff that's going wrong and gets you to focus. And of course, you're welcome to just scroll up to the first error, but fail fast is a nice technique.
Okay, so how do I do that again?
You type learn and then space dash dash f dash f.
Like that?
Yep. And that's short for fail fast, which just fails the first error. Expected 1 time with any arguments, received 4 times. There's the problem.
Expected 1 time with any arguments, received 4 times with any arguments.
So it's the get user input line, I believe.
Okay, so
982, right. It's the get user input. It's the fact that we end up calling it 4 times. It doesn't like that. It wants it to be called 1 time.
okay, then that must mean that it's within the loop. So
and here's the other problem. And this there's a hint in the error. Why is it calling it 4 times? How is that possible?
Because so what I think is happening, that could be happening, is so if get user input is H, then basically this is going to happen, and then all right, so it's called here.
Yep, once.
All right, so prompt user. So it's called here once.
Yep.
And then it's called here again.
Exactly.
And then it's called here if it's S.
Well, hold on. It was called on line 37 as well.
Yeah.
and called
Oh,
on line
okay.
38.
Okay. So, all right. So I tried to do this though. Let me show you this. So I tried to do like get user input. What was it? Question mark H, like something like that.
I think
And
you
then,
just want what the error is telling you is run this once. And if you run it once, whatever the answer is, capture it and store it as a local variable.
oh, okay.
Then we won't get this error again.
Oh, okay. So I can do this.
Right. Good.
Ah, ha, ha. Okay.
And let's do something else on line 39 because we only want to do this once. So you could have a puts or, I don't know what it wants. But let's just leave it blank for now. We'll get to, we don't quite know what it wants us to do when we get an S, but we know that it doesn't want us to call get user input again. So you could just comment that out and we'll just run fail fast again and we'll see what the next error is.
Do you want us to comment out the else
No,
if?
not the else if, what you do with the else if. Just comment that line.
Okay.
Which is still valid. It just means, hey, if this happens, don't do anything.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So do fail fast again.
Okay, making progress. Runner called. In fact, that got you through everything.
Yeah. It looks like it. Let's see.
And now you're on the runner method.
All right.
Which you haven't written yet, right?
I have. It's down here, but yeah. Okay. So wait a minute. One failure. Oh, it's the runner.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that passed it.
Yeah, you're good.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let's see what this does to see if it messes with it at all. It does mess with it. Okay. So do nothing then if S is called.
Apparently.
Okay. Okay, I can live with that. All right.
I mean, I guess that is kind of what happens with blackjack because the game goes on and you just don't do anything.
Right. Okay. Okay. All right. So now we got the runner. So when I tried to do the runner, because I was kind of giving this a break, giving my mind a break from the hit.
Yep.
Just kind of do something else while I thought about it. But so the runner, it says welcome method. So until the sum is greater than 21.
Right.
All right. So display. So do I need to define this?
Yeah, you
Here?
can see from the red, if you scroll up, that's the break, right? It doesn't know what num is, which makes sense because we haven't done anything yet. So
yeah, but go ahead.
So it can't evaluate that line until it's got something. And so you're going to have to do some stuff before you get to this until. You're going to have to do kind of the initialization of, hey, how's it going? Welcome to the game. And let's get started.
Yeah. So num could equal, I mean, we could initialize it to 0, but.
Okay, yeah, you could do that. That's fine.
Okay.
And then that won't be the error.
Okay. Okay, so the error here is expected welcome and got your cards add up to 0.
Weird. So let's look at the, I'm assuming your welcome method does exactly that. Welcome to the blackjack table.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go look at the spec to understand why this could possibly be not working, because it seems logical that it would be working. Let's see. So we're looking at 112. Yeah.
All right. It calls the welcome method, then the initial, then the hit. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, and if just more coaching here on the error analysis, that line in red takes you to the very first line, which is just a descriptor. But if you look up a little bit you can see where it broke. This is the finished in 0.0348 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
The line right above that has a different line. That's the 126. That's when it broke. RB1:126. So that takes you exactly to where things broke down. And that is not super helpful because, all of this is not a very you've got 18, 19, 21, 22. But if we look up a little bit higher, maybe, no, that can help that. Okay. So the expectations are receive deal card 3 times.
Yeah, so right here, all right, so just purely from the instructions, it says, just kind of to let you in on what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Is like, it says that, we have to, until their total is greater than 21, we're just going to keep iterating through this or looping through this. And then maybe I can set all these to just num now that I look at it. So at least these are initialized. Would that be something that we could do?
Well, let's walk through it. Okay, num equals 0.
Uh-huh.
Does display card total num, is that going to be greater than 21?
No.
Okay. So then, and the return of display card total really is a number?
Yes.
Look at it.
Total card. Oh, it just.
What's the return of puts?
Oh, it's a string.
Well, no, puts prints out a string, but the return of puts is actually nil. I don't know what it's going to evaluate nil greater than 21 as. I'm kind of thinking it would be falsy, but I don't know, because it's really not what you intended to do. Maybe you just intended to say num was greater than 21.
Oh.
Or maybe I think display card is working the way it's supposed to be, so I don't think we should change the return of it.
Right. So you're saying just leave this alone. This puts is fine.
Right. Because you've already passed all the display total tests.
Okay.
So let's see if that makes any difference.
Okay. All right. Now, to learn a little bit more about these errors right here.
Now, do you notice that this is a different error? It's kind of the same, but kind of different. You would have had to pay attention to the red part of the last one to be able to see that this is different.
Yeah. So in the last one, it was the num was not initialized, right, or it was undefined, and then I don't remember the one right after that.
The one right after that was it didn't receive the welcome message, which we thought was weird.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You have welcome as the very first method, but now that explains it, because we were calling a method which had nil as the return and then comparing that to 21, and that just wasn't working the way we thought it was. So now we're actually passing the expectation that we're getting the welcome message, right?
Okay.
Because now we've moved past that expectation and we're failing a different expectation.
Yeah. So clearly, if num is equal to 0 and your cards add up to, so that's the display num, or that's the display total card, which is also, which is nil. So this doesn't need this as well.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
The expectation is that you're going to get a phrase like your cards add up to blah. So that's, and you're getting that. It's just the numbers wrong. That's the way I would read that error.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I would agree with you.
And so then the question becomes, why am I still getting 0? If I've gone through this and I've done stuff, right? I dealt cards and I did a hit and a heavy hit.
So this should be card total. So there's not really. Oh, well, that's the initial round. Hit is num. So which gives us.
Let's walk through it. Okay, num equals 0 until num is greater than 21. Num is greater than 21 is false. And so we're going to do welcome, and that's just the phrase, right? Initial round. What does initial round do?
So the initial round returns a sum.
Now what did we do with that sum?
Yeah, so we take that sum and we use it displayed. So we basically put that sum back into display total card. But for initial round, we go ahead and return it for that method.
Okay, but what I'm saying is in the runner method, did you do anything? Initial round returns a number, right?
Yeah.
Did you do anything with that number? Say you get a 5 and a 7, then initial round returns 12. How does that number get incorporated into the fact that you started off with 0 and now you should have 12?
Oh, so that should, so should this be, yeah. And then this should still be the parameter that's passed, right?
Does initial round take an argument?
No. All right. Yeah. Okay. All good things. Okay. I think kind of what's confusing me is because I'm used to. So I learned quite a bit about Java, and so the way that Java is set up, I'm sure you know, like if you have a parameter, you have to return the same type of value that the parameter is being passed through the parameter. So like returning something on something that doesn't have a parameter is kind of I'm still trying to get used to that. So it does throw me off quite a bit. All right.
Now, let's keep walking forward here because at this point, and let's stick with my 5-7 example. Now on line 58, num would be equal to 12, right? And so then you call hit with the number 12, which is exactly what you wanted. And let's say that the person chooses to hit because they should probably hit if they get 12. And so then then we deal them another card, right? And inside of the hit function, we do plus equals deal card so that we add on to the total that we were given. And so now num is, let's say I get another 7. So now I'm sitting at 19. And then the return of hit is 19, right? Okay, so now let's go back down to runner. So now you're sitting there on line 30, on line 59, and you returned 19. And what are you doing with that number? Nothing?
So I guess we would redefine num as well.
Yeah, you gotta keep updating num.
Okay. And then after we update num, which is 19, the display card total.
So now we should see a change. We shouldn't be displaying your cards add up to 0. We should be seeing your cards add up to.
Okay.
Now, I think you took something off line 60 because it's giving you this argument error, right? It's saying wrong number of arguments given 0 but expected 1. Why is it saying that?
Because display card total has a parameter of a string, I guess. Or well, this is actually an integer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow that got deleted.
I deleted it.
Well, hey-o.
Okay.
It is.
Okay, there it is. So to walk through this again, we had to initialize num. And then as we went through this until loop, we kept updating num.
Yeah.
So num would be able to play.
Right.
So 0 is less than 21. So we're going to do the welcome, the initial round, the redefine num, the hit redefine num, and now the display card total basically passes an integer, passes num through its parameter, and then for its method, and then now that num is fully updated, we can end the game with that same parameter.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You're doing good, man. That was you were real close.
Hey, I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Absolutely.
And
I'm need more help.
okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, Ryan.
All right. Bye.